I was gonna open up with Backstabbers by the OJs, but I ended up opening up with Pure from Blue Six. Now, I didn't realize until now, why that was. It just seems like it's more in tune with this topic more and more that I think about it. Because pure people who are pure at heart, people who are pure in their mind state, they are clear thinking people. These are the clear thinking people that will hear a cause, be part of a cause, become part of a cause, support that cause, give their all, make that cause their life, make that part of who they are. And that is the cause that will win over time. Right? This was the principal thoughts of the people who founded America. Now, a lot of our people will say, the white man raped, robbed, murdered the Indians, the Native Americans, enslaved the blacks and everything. And that's true. However, if you look on the other side of the coin, a lot of our people did aid in that, into that human destruction, into that destruction of our people. A lot of our people aided in that. Also, you have to look at the people and the mindset of the people, the so-called founding fathers of this country. If you don't like what they did, you have to respect what they did, the fact that they were together collectively, right? And they didn't, sell out or betray this union that they were aiming to set up here in America. They had just as much to lose by selling each other out. They had vested interests in making this union come together collectively. They looked at the future. They looked at the future of what it is they were fighting for and building. Right? They looked at the future of that. That's why they let nothing stand in their way when they were creating the society. Like I said, you don't have to like it, but you got to respect it for the fact that they came together collectively and did that. Same way our people used to be when we were pure at heart and pure at mind, and we saw worthwhile causes that we got involved in, right, that we came together, made our life, and we made those movements work because we put our heart, our blood, our sweat, our tears, our energy, our all into it, and we live like this, and we live for, of, and by each other collectively. Right? Now, that's not the thinking of every black person. That's not. Because every black person's mind and his soul is not pure. It is impure. It has been tainted with the blood of other people, with the mentality of other people. Right? It's been poisoned. When the old Nation of Islam was set up, you had people who gave their heart and their soul and they everything to that. They were willing to live that life of Muslims. It wasn't just rhetoric with our people. It was a lifestyle. They were living like this. They were eating like this. They were praying like this. They raised their families like this. It wasn't a joke to them. So you can understand the mentality of a people who would be angry at somebody like Malcolm X. And I bring him up because he is a perfect example of what I'm talking about tonight. Right? A perfect example. Because a lot of our people, I know they don't like it and it won't be popular, but he's a perfect example of it. Why black people slander and stab black leaders in the back. Because he did this to Elijah Muhammad. The honorable Elijah Muhammad. A lot of people, and the sad thing about it is, young black people today and black people back then who are along that age range in the 60s and the 70s and whatnot, they tried to justify that. A lot of our people today don't see anything wrong with what Malcolm X did, and that's sad. These are the same people who are not pure at heart, nor was Malcolm X. He didn't think, while he was making this thing personal between him and Elijah Muhammad, he didn't think about all of those people, right, that came into the Nation of Islam 20 years prior to before he even heard of it, right? Coming into the nation, who were living for of and by this, were raising their families by this. He didn't think about that when he made the comments about Kennedy. Now, you got a lot of black people who say, oh, well, he made the comment about Kennedy because it was against the white man, and, why didn't Elijah, back him on the comment? Because Elijah Muhammad didn't want to get involved in that. Elijah Muhammad was the leader of the Nation of Islam. And as a person who was a member of a organization or a movement, you do what your leader tells you to do. Or you leave the organization and do your own thing. That's how that works. You will never see somebody who is in this white establishment, whether it's the military, the presidential cabinet, you will never see any of these people break rank in what they are doing. They follow orders. That's how they're able to be successful. In a corporation, the president, down to the workers, everybody that's on the board of directors, they follow the directions of the chairman of the board. That's how that works. If you do not want to do that, then you do not belong in an organization or a movement, which is why our people push individualism, because can't nobody tell our people what to do, especially black leaders. We hate black leaders because our people have become impure at heart, and in their minds and in their soul they've become impure. Anytime you hate a people or hate a person who has our best interests at heart, or you don't want to follow or be a part of anything or a person who has our best interests at heart, there's something wrong with you. You have the mind of the beast. You have the spirit of the beast. I'm not going to say the soul, because your soul is burnt out. You should have passion and fire in your chest to uplift anything or any movement that's going to move us closer to God, closer to that God-like state. You should be trying to push every and anything and be part of any effort to make that happen. Give your life for this. Live for this. Not die for this. Live for this. See, but that's not the mentality of our people, because our people are not pure anymore. Our people are jaded. Our people have been brain-stained. I don't say brainwashed, I say brain-stained. There's nothing, because washing denotes something clean, and there's nothing clean about the majority of our people's mindset. Our people have a filthy mindset. Anytime you sit stagnant, anytime you sit on the sidelines, and you're not standing up for the evolution of our people into raising your children to be better than you and advocating that in the bloodline of our people, wanting to see the best for our people, coming together with our people collectively. Anytime you don't advocate something like that, you're sick. You're impure. You understand that? You are impure. Malcolm X's heart was impure because he made it all about him. I can't say what I want, so I'm going to throw the leader under the bus, right? I'm going to talk about his personal life. I'm going to talk about how many women he slept with. What kind of man does that? And the sad thing is, black men don't see nothing wrong with that. That's the sad thing about it. Jacob York sold his father out, stabbed his father in the back. And you got some niggas who don't see a problem with that. They don't see a problem with that. Right? He got no problem with his father sitting in jail for 135 years. What kind of person is that? What kind of animal is that? What kind of monster came out of that man's genes? You understand that? That's people who are impure at heart. And we let these people sit around us. We party with these people. We marry these people. We have children with these people. These people come out of our genetics. You can see it in them as children. Right? You can spot it in them as children, but we choose to ignore that because they are our children. We don't see that they could be the ones that can overthrow or throw a movement off the tracks just because of their own selfish wants and desires, because they become impure at heart. They carry the blood of the beast in their veins. Sometimes it trickles into one of our own. That's why, like I said, if you could sell one of your own people down the road, like people did, and like I said, this goes way back. This is not just, because a lot of the so-called conscious people, they like to say, oh, brother, that's Willie Lynch. I'm so tired of hearing about Willie Lynch. Y'all always want to blame the white man for that. Oh, it's Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch syndrome. That's why we do it, brother. Well, was it the Willie Lynch syndrome when the Africans were selling our people into slavery? Was that Willie Lynch? Because they didn't hear about Willie Lynch till our people got firmly implanted in America under the slave system. Was it Willie Lynch then? Was it Willie Lynch that had black men owning other black men? Was it Willie Lynch then? Or was these just people who were impure at heart? People who were vibrating on a low submental frequency of the beast. People who stand for nothing. People who, like I said, we associate with every day instead of separating ourselves from these people. Right? People who we listen to their comments and their conversations. These are your everyday black people. That's the scary thing about it. Your everyday black people are impure at heart, are impure in mind, impure in their soul, impure in their body. If you eat filthy foods, if you sit up here and think impure thoughts, open yourself up to that, then you will have that impure soul in you. Mind, body, and soul will be impure. All three work together. So you will have no problem selling out one of your own. You will have no problem sending your father off to jail just because you want some money. You have no problem sitting up and talking about your leader's sex life and his personal life because you mad because you want some camera time. You want camera time, or you want to be part of the civil rights movement, or you want to be heard. You want to be that voice. So you'll sell your own leaders down the river. The man who made you who you were. That's disgusting. That is disgusting on so many levels, and like I said, it's even more disgusting that black men going to sit up here and argue in defense of that type of behavior just because it's Malcolm X. Right? Notice that this society pushed Malcolm X as an icon after he did that. I said that in the first broadcast when I talked about Malcolm X being a disciple or a deceiver. They pushed him as an icon right after he stabbed Elijah Muhammad in the back, right after he sold the Nation of Islam down the river. Right? And like I said, black men don't see that. They let Spike Lee gave him $20 million to make a movie about it. So obviously they like something like that. The same people that you claim to hate or call the devil, these are the same people that made Malcolm X an icon right after he did that. They didn't make Elijah Muhammad an icon. They didn't make Dr. Malachi Z. York an icon. So that proves that these were men that were about the evolution of our people, who tried to aid in the evolution of our people. But our people, even today, the majority of black people, don't like them. They sit up here and say stupid stuff like, Malachi, he molested some kids, or Elijah, he was messing with a bunch of young girls. They believe that because they want to believe it. They believe it because they want to believe it. Because they don't want to truly see the evolution of our people, or anyone who's advocating the evolution of our people. They don't want to see that. Jealousy, envy, impure. You operate with the mind of the beast. You operate with the mind of the same enemy you claim that you hate. You operate with his mind frame. You pick and choose when you want to believe him and when you don't. We're going to talk about that further tonight. What's behind that mentality? I am the intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz, and this is State of Mental Radio. And tonight, why black people slander and stab black leaders in the back. The real reason, like I said, impure, evil, and angry. People who cannot lend to the evolution of our people. You understand? People who cannot lead to the evolution. Some of our people are disconnected from the mind of God. These are the perfect people who stab leaders in the back. See, Elijah Muhammad was connected to the mind of God. He saw the bigger picture. When I say the ability to see the bigger picture is anyone, a person who has the ability to see the bigger picture is anyone or is someone who is connected to the mind of God. Why? Because God sees all. God sees the future. God is able to see things in the long term, which is why he moves in the long term, right? He's able to see things in the long term because he moves in the long term. The majority of the people who are disconnected from God, they can't see in the long term. They see short term. They see, why can't I say this? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? They don't see the bigger picture. They don't see the future of what words can do or what they can't do. So they sit up, and because they can't satisfy their own immediate gratification, their submental gratification to be individuals and be heard, the minute they can't satisfy that, they're gonna stab somebody in the back. They're going to stab somebody in the back so that they could stand on some sort of pedestal and be like the love, the desire, because they want the place of that leader. They hate the adulation and the love and the respect that that leader got. So they feel like they got to stab him in the back in order for them to move up. They got to stab him in the back. Because 9 times out of 10, these people who do that, they have nothing to replace what it is they're tearing down. Nothing to replace it. All they can do is tear down. That's the mind of a destructive, savage-like people. You have the blood of the beast flowing through your veins because he's destructive and savage. And you claim that you are against that, but you do the same thing. So if you're tearing something down, you have to replace something to put back up. Listen to anybody next time they say, oh, they tearing down people. When you hear people tearing down other people, ask them, well, what do you suggest in place of what you're tearing down? And now if they don't have an answer, because I don't have a problem with people, if you tear something down, even me, if you tear me down, give me something better to replace it. I'll listen. I'm open to listen to everybody, every and anybody. I advocate the evolution of our people through the intelligence of God. That's what I advocate, and that's what we advocate in the state of mental as mentalists. The evolution of our people through the intelligence of God, because God is real. God is flowing through our generation, through our bloodline. It is a constant, continuous evolution that we've been disconnected from. God lives in the past, when our people were in ancient Egypt and Nubia ruling, and God exists in the future when our people will be back in power again. But at this present date, at this present time, we are disconnected from the line. We trying to reconnect the line within the state of mental. It is a bloodline ascension, and you have a lot of people who don't want to see that connection happen or take place. They don't want to see it. They'll fight against it. They'll slander and leave nothing in place. They'll give nothing in return. They'll just take and tear down. You have the blood of mankind, the human beast in you. That's why you do that. I don't care how dark you are. I don't care how light you are. You have the blood of the beast flowing through you because you do things, the things you do in tearing down movements that are about the evolution of our people. That's the same thing the beast does. You're serving him when you do that. When you're being negative and tearing down the image of a so-called black leader, you're serving the beast, or you're serving his agenda. You're strengthening his power. You're strengthening his authority because you're not putting anything in the place of what you're tearing down. In fact, 9 times out of 10, these same people that are tearing down the black leaders and things like the ones who are doing something, because, like I said, I don't have anything against people tearing people down, but you have to bring something in the place of that. Because certain people need to be ripped apart and exposed, but you have to bring something in place better to advocate for the people to move forward on. If you can't do that, then you need to sit down. 5% has got something right when they said build and destroy. It should be destroy and build. Because if you're tearing down the mindset and the mentality of people and your intention is to replace it with something better, then that's what you came here to do. That's your job. But if your job is just to tear it down and leave nothing in its place, then like I said, you are poisoned. You are impure. Fire raises things, right? Fire raises things. Notice in the building terminology, the word raise means to bring something down, and it also means to put something up, right? If you're going to raise someone, put something in place that's going to move our people forward, that's going to bring our people forward. The truth is going to bring our people forward. The truth will expose you. Most of our people who are now in the so-called the pseudo-intellectuals, the so-called conscious people, the religious people, all these people out here who have so much to say, they're not about the evolution of our people. These are the very ones who tear down black leadership or people who are leading the evolution. So the wrong people, the problem is the wrong people are in leadership positions. And they're put in place by people who are impure. People who don't really want to see an evolution come to our people. People who just basically want to keep going in circles, repeating the same thing over and over again. Keeping people in power who should have sat down a long time ago. See, that's the problem. That's the problem of a people who are impure. The word pure means fire. In Latin, I believe, the word pure. But it's funny, in the word pure, you see the word R-E, which is ray, which comes from Egypt, fire, or the sun. Right? They say to purify something, certain things must be burned. When you sever a limb, they used to cauterize the limb or burn it to purify it. Right? So if our souls are impure, meaning the energy of because I'm not speaking allegorically. When I'm talking about our souls being impure, I'm talking about our fire, the fire in our chest, the very thing that moves us forward has been tainted. Right? The very thing that we're supposed to be living for, life, has been tainted. Whereas we're not moving forward. We've been tainted and poisoned into moving in circles instead of in straight lines. Right? Rituals, spirituals, right? Taking our people nowhere, causing confusion, right? Lying to our people. That's what a lot of our people have been geared toward doing. A lot of our people are here to just do nothing but waste time, stand in the way of the evolution of our people. Yeah, a lot of people who want to be leaders, only simply because they want to serve themselves and they want to be heard. They don't really have a plan for the evolution of our people. They're only here to cause confusion and waste time. These are the people who are impure, right? But they always end up being exposed. Malcolm X, when he did what he did to Elijah Muhammad, when he made it about Elijah Muhammad and him, he didn't think about those people who were raising their families in the nation, who had children there, babies who were growing up and were in the University of Islam. He didn't think about what the image of Elijah Muhammad meant to them. He didn't think about that. When he sat up here and talked about this man's personal life and tried to make it like he was a pervert because he was mad, he didn't think about that. That was a man who was impure. Right? Like I said, it's not going to be popular to a lot of people, this kind of speech. But it's the truth. The truth is never popular to our people. That's another sign that our people are impure, because it was a time where we would embrace the truth. The majority of our people would embrace the truth. We would love the truth. We would run toward the truth. We would try to be a part of any movement that was dealing totally with truth, because the truth is not always what we want to hear. But it's definitely what we need to move forward. Right? How many of our people can understand that? Right? Whereas they're not coming up with their own philosophies, they're not coming up with their own ideologies and things like that, trying to make things sound deep and heavy, basically lying to people because they are impure and they want to be leaders. They're only about their own individual growth. They're not about the growth of the collective, the group. They're not about that. Yeah? I'm going to take a call. 248. 248, you're on the air. 248. 248, you're on the air. Okay. I don't hear anything, 248. You can call back. 248?
Hello?
Yes, 248. Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm just listening, brother.
Okay. It seemed like you, I see the call where you picked up. I thought you wanted to ask a question or something. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We were stabbing each other in the back, like I said, off the slave ships here into this country, and we continue to this day. Is there a reason why we can't erect movements that mirror that which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did, or that which Dr. Malachi Z. York did? Right? There's always supposed to be a new evolution of movements that are coming, but you got a lot of people who are followers of those old other movements, those older movements, who say, "Oh, well, them people doing their own thing. They shouldn't be doing this, that, and the third." But if they are part of the evolution, because leaders are given power by God, intelligence by God, and that same intelligence doesn't stop with that leader or that person. It continues. So being that we are in a new millennium, a new movement should be coming about for the evolution of our people, for this next generation. Right? Those movements of the last millennium, they've had their time. Those leaders had their time where they talked and they taught. And they said what they had to say. They sat on the throne for 30 and 40 years. So now they should be opening the throne, and the throne should be open to new people coming. Right? A lot of our people don't want to open the door or accept new people coming in. They don't want to do that. They don't want to follow or be a part of anything that new people are setting up, if it's for the evolution of our people. Why? Because of the jealousy. Right? Because of people who just want to waste time. People who want to be inactive and just sit around and read books and go to work and complain about the white man and everything else. But with your inactivity and your inability or lack of desire to do anything, you're the reason why our people are not moving forward. These are impure people. Our people are lackluster. Right? We have the same concerns as everybody else. Just as the beast, we care about politics, we care about the fights, we care about basketball, we care about all kinds of stupidity. Disneyland, whatever. We care about all kinds of stupidity. All kinds of things that's wasting our time. And while we're sitting around here being distracted, having our time wasted, we're being ushered off of the scene. We're being ushered off the scene as a people. And only a few people who are in tune, only a few people who are connected and have the vision of God can see this down the long road, down the line. Collectively, only a few people can see this. The ones of our people in the religious world, the ones of our people who are our so-called black leaders today, the politicians, the civil rights people, they're not going to show you this because they've been paid to pull the wool over your eyes. Right? Now, these movements and these organizations always have plenty of people following them, the impure ones. Right? They always have plenty of people following them. Right? They have no problem supporting these kind of people because they serve the same agenda as the beast. They serve the same agenda, which is to turn our people backwards from our evolution, to move us going in a counterclockwise or circular way of thinking, whereas there's no progress. That's what the impure do. God is supposed to be in contact and supposed to be a guide for our people to move us into the future in a straight line, forward, not backwards. Who is moving us forward today? What level of intelligence, who's bringing knowledge in this day and time to move us forward? I hear a lot of people talking about the past, right? I hear that. I hear people talking about Egypt, Africa, Samaria, ancient historians and dead people, like I said, resurrecting dead movements. Why? Because we don't want live leaders. We don't want people who are bringing the evolution to our people. We don't want that. We want people that are going to keep us in dead books, keep us following dead people, people who came and had their time. We don't know how to move on. That is the mentality of impure people. So how do you purify these people? Separation. Simple. Separation. Because there's enough of our people, as I said, who have that fire burning bright in them, the people who want this evolution to take place. There's enough of our people out there who want that, who want to live for, of, and by each other collectively again, raise new nations, raise new states, raise new collectives of people, real communities where we live in a certain way, not just some substitute teachers who are coming up here trying to concoct their own little philosophies and taking old buried philosophies and things and trying to lead our people down the bad path. Right? Black people have no problem stabbing black leadership in the back or throwing black leadership under the bus because, like I said, they keep on thinking that they have this mentality that they are a part of the larger populace and that the larger populace is real. Right? The larger populace, or what they call a society, they think they're a part of this. So they don't take so-called black movements seriously. What they take seriously is their job, their 9-to-5 job, the fights, the basketball game, and all the things that pop culture crafts out for them to live. They take that seriously. Not anything that's about the evolution of our people. I'm going to take a call. 916.
Yes, peace. This is Kyle.
Right.
I got a question for you. Okay. Now, I'm digging the linear and, the concept. And, okay, so what I'm visualizing as you're speaking is the linear. Okay, so it's a straight line. So now, if the linear is a straight line, because I'm picturing a phallic, basically, straight line perpendicular. That's symbol for a male. And where does the female fit in? Now, I would, visualize the circle, actually, which you're kind of denouncing, as the feminine, because it's the creative force. And, the perpendicular is more of a structure, so, in other symbolism, you can think of that as the, right brain, left brain. So, I'm interested in how you, see where, I want to see where you fit the feminine in with the straight line, the linear, the perpendicular.
Well, let me stop you there for a second. Okay. When I'm talking about the linear, that has nothing to do with any sex organs. It has nothing to do with any penis, right, any vagina, anything like that. Hold on, let me finish. I'm speaking about the evolution of our people, a straightforward lineage. The line that I'm talking about is the bloodline, the straightforward genetic connection of our people moving forward, our children, our grandchildren. Now, you cannot continue a bloodline without a woman. So, of course, the woman fits in the line of our evolution. Okay. I mean, that makes perfect sense. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so you're speaking more when you're talking the linear as in the representation of who you are rather than because, the circle, and when you combine the two and, you separate the two, I can't see the the separatism of it because, it's like the computer is made up of zeros and ones. Basically, it's just what I'm saying is the aspect of the individual, the person, the being that's living the both of the aspects. Okay, now you're physical. In the physical, you're male, of course, but you're embodying the creative side of that, so you can have a counterpart in life. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like it's just, to me, like I say, just in looking at it and how it's coming across, is symbolism. You see,
no, it's not.
So
it's
more than a structure.
I'm being straightforward and structured, brother.
Right,
do you have a bloodline? Hold on. Do you have a bloodline?
Right.
Yes. Do you have a bloodline?
Oh, of course.
Okay. And in your bloodline, there is a continuation of your son or your daughter, your grandson. They keep going, right?
No
yes?
doubt.
Okay. Is that not a line?
Of course.
Is that not a lineage?
But in creating that, though, it involved a certain cycle, a certain purpose, a drive, and that drive was a creativity in
There's
that,
no circle, brother. Come on, there's no
No.
circle, brother.
No. I'm not saying just to be in a circle. See, it's an energy. Okay, I understand what you're talking about, linear, because the linear is genealogy, like you're saying, but it's also language. It's also creativity involved in that. So it's just the way, like I say, it's just the way, you're denouncing a certain structure itself, just thought. You see what I'm saying, or even how you got there, because it's a lot of, you say going back to the past, and then, brothers living in the past and then in the future. But then, again, you denounce the now as if we're not doing nothing with this, which in actuality, you're doing something with it. So the now is actually happening.
While I'm doing something in the now is because I'm linked into the future. The now, if I'm looking at the now and what I'm people doing, if I'm trying to do exactly what it is our people doing, I wouldn't be doing anything, because the majority of our people out here are not doing anything. So it takes a person to be linked into the future or have future vision or future intelligence to lead him continuously into the future. That's my link. Now, as far as the linear, it's just straightforward line of succession, brother. Woman and man, children, woman and man, children, woman and man, children. There's no circle in this. See, the circle is the ritual and the things we go through where we not evolving and changing, which is what our people have been doing right now. This is where we break the circle, or what we call thinking outside the box to move forward.
Okay, well, I'm a use that as a greater depth in breaking it down, and use your linear basically with the language, because when I look linear up, it refers to language. And so now I stop calling it a circle. My word for it is straight energy. So I'm going to stamp that out right now. No, but you're a good brother, though. You breaking stuff down. It's just about where you at and what you receive it, like you say, and if you're open for it and stuff, and it's the true knowledge. So, everybody is coming to it differently, especially where you're at in the country and whatnot, because I'm realizing that, especially how brothers is bringing what they're bringing. But the thing about it is like, it just, everything's a representation of what you're speaking on is the now, and the living, the future, and the past in one, and it's the now, and just having knowledge of it and living it, existence. So, that's just my piece on it, man. I just wanted to chime in. Appreciate that.
All right, thanks, brother. All right. Let me take a next call. 917. 917, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
How you doing?
All right. I think the problem is that you have a lot of black folks. It's just frontliners for white folks. You know what I'm saying? So it is so sad, because you got brothers and sisters that try to make a difference, and then you always going to have another black person, or I call them Negroes, try to tear them down, or try to say, oh, you all that, back to Africa and stuff. And, you know what I'm saying? It gets stupid with it. But you're right. I believe I believe our past is the blueprint to our future. And we supposed to, as a people, is to carry the torch. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to learn from our forefathers that, taught us how to, to succeed and be self-sufficient and not to be dependable. And I think the future starts with our children. And I was looking at and Barack Obama. And when he was talking about the German Jews and how he came out his mouth and said, "Oh, the Jews, the German Jews when they went through was the only Holocaust, the one and only Holocaust." I don't know if you remember that. And I think a lot of black people was disgusted by that, because that Holocaust where Hitler really got his started that massacre, he got that from America. Well, I don't think a lot of black people don't know that. But what Obama said, this is what he told white folks. He said, "Tell your children of what happened, of the past." You know what I'm saying? Tell them what happened so they can, see, I think I think this is something that black people are always been told, "Oh, forget about the past, forget about the past." But the past is the blueprint, so we can see. If we have to tell our children, "Hey, let's be self-sufficient. Let's do this, let's do that," and look what we went through. We have to move forward. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. I mean, I totally agree with everything you said as far as we have to tap in. We have to move forward now, because with this marching and it's just like a recycled bullshit, man. I mean, excuse my language, but it's just recycled, rehash stuff that we already been through. And it's like we would never get equality. We would never find equality. As long as we in America, we would never get equality. And like Malcolm X said, he said we had equality way before the white man existed. He said we're not going to have equality as long as we integrated. As long as there's integration, we didn't even have equality when there was segregation. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the white folks was running the show. They regulated everything. So we need to, like you said, I believe in separatists. I believe that we need to separate, because you do got some Eurocentric Negroes out here that are frontliners. I was speaking to a guy that I know. And he said that he loved American system. He said he loved American system. He said, "Yeah, I know that you hate America and all this other stuff," but he said he loves it. So to me, that's scary, because if I try to make a difference, he'll try to kill me. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and this is what. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Well, let me say this. There's nothing wrong, and I'm going to hear me out. There's nothing wrong with the system of America, because a system can be put in place by anybody. It's the people who don't enact the system first. See, when the people who sit around and expect for the system to take care of them, they expect for people to do for them by way of the system. When they don't get what they want, they hate the system. Now, if America was doing for black people and doing all the stuff they wanted for them, then they would be singing a different tune. Like I said, all our people who talked about, they hate America and this, that, and the third, hated the society. Now, when Barack Obama became president, when you got thrown that bone, our people was like, "Oh, yes, we can," and we got proud. And everybody forgot about everything. Everybody got proud. Like I said,
it wasn't not me.
People, the people, like I said, it's not about the system. It's about the people who enact the system. Like I said, because you could take white people out of this, you could take white people out of the whole, you could take them out of the equation and put black people in and run the same system, and you still have black people have a problem with the system. They would have a problem with the system. It's not about, like I said, the black and white thing more than it is about people who are disingenuous, or people who are not genuine about the evolution of their people. They, you can be about the evolution of your people without having to hate anybody. You don't have to hate the white man to be about the evolution of your people, because I don't buy into that thing about hating the white man, because majority of these black people who everything out their mouth, especially the black nationalists, the people who talk all this hate the white man, the black power people, all the people that talk this, they don't really hate the white man because they got jobs, they send their kids to school, they do all the stuff in this society, yet they claim they hate the white man. If you really hated the white man like you claim, then you would do something other than that and build for yourself. Don't say you hate the white man as some kind of recreational outlet, because that's really what it is. You hate the white man as a recreational outlet, but then you turn around and stab a black leader in the back. Malcolm X said he hated the white man, right? He said he was the devil. Then he turned around in one swoop because he didn't get something he wanted. Somebody told him, his leader told him what he couldn't say, and he stabbed his leader right in the back.
Mm-hmm.
With no problem. So that's the mentality of our people. The majority of black people here in America are front runners for this white system. They're not about the evolution or the coming together collectively of our people. They're not about that. That's why I said when you talk about separation, it should be a separation in the black race, the so-called black race, the ignorant from the intelligent.
Exactly right. Because you got, as I said, you got these Eurocentric Negroes are frontliners. They're frontliners, and that's the way I see it. Because the system, when I mean, I'm talking about white supremacist system. I mean, you look at the police, the police killing black folks and all this other stuff in the community and stuff like that, and these guys get medals. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me just say something while that's on my mind. Let me say something about that, because I was thinking about this long and hard. You know, our people get shot down by the police and get killed by the police because our people don't stand for nothing. Our people are not together collectively. You could never. How often do you hear? I'm gonna show them what I mean. How often do you hear about Jews getting shot down by police?
Not that often.
even the Nation of Islam. I'm gonna go to a black organization. When the nation was strong, you ain't never hear really about people in the Nation of Islam getting bothered, right? All right, you know why? Because these people stand for something. They're a real community. They're a real movement, a real organization. And the police know that if you mess with one of them, you mess with one, it ain't going to just be them shooting some lone individual Negro, because that's the mentality of black people. They want to be lone individual. I'm for myself. I'm doing me. I ain't part of no movement. I'm my own God. Then when you get shot down, then you want to run up under the I'm black thing. We all black. Let's all stick together. So these same people pick and choose when they want to be black, and they usually out here being submental people. They usually out here smoking their weed. They usually out here listening to their pants hanging off their ass, listening to hip hop, being negative. Being a bunch of niggas. And then when the white man treat them when the white man deals with them, you understand? And when they vibrate on his level, on his frequency, then when he comes and deals with them, then they want to get black and they want to get proud. Any other time, son, I'm doing me, I'm about me.
That's
See?
true. I've heard them.
They don't stand for nothing. So when you alone and you got that, you carry that individual mentality, and you're not about your people, or you just a nigga in the street doing your thing, as you say, then you get treated like a nigga in the street. See, because people respect groups and collectives of people who stick together.
Exactly. Yep.
Nobody respects black people because black people are not together, because black people don't even respect each other.
That's true.
They don't respect their own lives, but then they expect the white man to have respect for black life. That's really some hypocrisy right there for you, because like I said, black people get upset when the police will shoot down a black person, but when Raheem or Willie or whoever shoot another black kid in the back, cut him in the face, nobody's upset about that. Nobody's upset about that. You know, that happens all the time.
You're right. It's funny that you said it, because I was talking about, I remember I put up this funny picture of Jay-Z when he wearing the gray suit. He looked like Pee Wee Herman, right? And this one sister, she got, it was supposed to be on the joke, but I think it got serious because one sister got upset, and she said something, and she was trying to take up for Jay-Z. And I said, no, because I said Jay-Z was a fruitcake, right? And she was like, she got so upset, she's like, oh, how you going to say this about Jay-Z? He's doing this, he's doing that, he got no business, blah, blah, blah. So I said, let me tell you something. And I had to break it down. So I said, let me tell you something. You talking about the same Jay-Z who wrote lyrics disrespecting the black woman and glorifying violence? You know what I'm saying? Glorifying, you know what I'm saying? Our children got killed, trying to mimic him. This is the same Jay-Z who exploited black people and their conditions and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And living off of a wealth of black pain, or black people's pain. Are you serious?
You know what it is. You know what it is. She liked Jay-Z. She liked his music. That's all it is. That show you how impure again our people are, because her whole discussion of her whole supported Jay-Z is because she in the club shaking her ass and dancing to Jay-Z. So he's a great man because he makes some good beats and some good music, and he got some money. That show you how shallow our people have become. That makes him a great person. Now, if you talk about a black man who was really out here, doing something for our people, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like Dr. York, or people like that, who that? They ain't do nothing. Oh, that guy who did this, they got something negative to say, but because he you get some shallow coon. You got niggas that stood up for Biggie. You got people that stood up for R. Kelly.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
understand? That just goes to show you the impurity of our people.
Yep.
That just goes to show you the impurity of the black race right there. The mental impurity, the physical impurity. Like I said, you eat garbage, you think garbage, you support and you just push out garbage. And that's the mentality in the majority of our people out here today, the so-called black race. That's why I advocate separation amongst the black race, ignorant from intelligent.
I agree.
See, so when we got this mentality, we got this mindset. Like I said, even the so-called conscious community and whatnot, you don't see these people. You don't never see these people advocating for a movement to be formed and things like that. They're just a loose band of Negroes, man. Just coming, doing Jerry Springer, listening to people arguing, fighting, and fussing and cussing each other out, but then scream black power behind it. So I guess that's supposed to be some power. That's supposed to be something real. Because they scream black power behind a bunch of confusion and madness and people cussing each other out. Nothing about the future evolution of our people. Or it's just about Negroes talking about money, and money's the answer, sovereignty. Everything is the answer. You understand? Because it all links to the beast. Nothing is about the evolution of our people. And they're not supporting any movements. It's about the evolution of the real change of our people. So that's the people that end up coming up in movements, stabbing the leaders in the back because of their own impure mindset, which comes from the beast.
That's true.
They vibrate on the same frequency as the beast.
It's scary, man, but it's real. I mean, it's to the point. It's like you don't even know who to trust now, man. Like you got to really evaluate people nowadays to see who's on your side, and that's what's so scary about it. Because even though you might talk to somebody, they might talk your talk, but at the same time they're scheming. They're secret agents. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you something. Even because that's what I wanted to say about the blueprint, right? Where I want to pick up on that where you said the blueprint of the past is for our future, and that's really that's not our blueprint. That's not how we're gonna move into the future. We only gonna move into the future when we disconnect ourselves from the past and the things that we did wrong. That's how we're gonna move into the future. See, because when you like for example, I'll give you the example of the blackboard. When you erase all the words and all this stuff off the blackboard and you clear the blackboard off, you make room for new things to come about. You have to get rid of all the old things that we've been through, have lived out, went through by trial and error, things that haven't worked, and you have to start brand new. That's something our people don't want to do. Our people don't want to start brand new with brand new people leading the way. Our people don't uphold people who come up in the so-called black community who are intelligent and smart. They don't uphold them as leaders. First thing they want to do is tear them down. They want to tear them down. You got who that nigga think he is.
Right. But you got brothers out here and sisters out here that come up with new ideas, and instead of saying, hey, let's try that. They still that won't never work. Let's continue marching. Because to me, marching don't work. I don't like marching.
Like I said, throw all that stuff out the window. If I gave the solution to our people, I gave the solution to the problem of our people and our moving forward. The solution toward the evolution of our people is the separation within the black race, the ignorant ones from the intelligent ones, the people who are serious about the evolution of our people versus the people who are not, the people who are out here promoting individualism, playing games, who still want to listen to stupid hip-hop and all this. Separate from these Negroes and these people who just about foolishness and folly, and get the serious people who are collectively coming together. Then you're able to build something.
But here's my question. Do you think those people should benefit off of our hard work?
No,
people like you?
Hell no.
Because they're going to be looking at it like, oh, I'm black. I should.
No. Because I advocate that we are not even of the black race no more. Forget the black race. Forget that whole terminology of the black race. We are coming as the mentalists or the bright race or that solar intelligent race of being. We're not interested in anything that's going on in the black race, because the black race ain't no different than the white race right now. They no different. They just a carbon copy version of the white race. And like I said, it's always these people who have that white mentality or that human mentality. I'm not even going to say it's just a white mentality. It's a human, we are the world mentality, where they're not about the evolution of their people. These are the same people that come up in black movements just to purposely come and cause confusion and slander and problems. These people come up and do that. You know, and didn't Malcolm X end up doing that when he went? He was in the Nation of Islam for 12 years. Set up here, was upholding everything Elijah Muhammad said. Then after that, after the 12 years is up, he started getting on TV talking to people. He goes to Mecca, get cooned out over there, then come back talking about we all brothers, we all Muslims, and this, that, and that. After he come back from Mecca, just because he saw some white people praying next to him and some Chinese and all these people, he come back cooned out. He sold his lead out. You know? There you go. That's the mentality, that we are the world, we all human mentality, instead of understanding that we've been singled out from the time we hit this planet as a natural manifestation of God. We're not even supposed to be amongst these people.
Yeah, right. That's true. That's true. All right, brother. I mean, that's real talk, man. Definitely real talk. I mean, you know, it's just...
now it's time for real action in the evolution of our people, the separation. Like I said, I'm for the separation within the black race. That's what I'm about. Same way the Jews separated from the white race. Notice the Jews don't call themselves white. They say we Jews.
Yeah,
they doing their own thing. They separate from the white race. You understand? They not going to let anybody in their thing. That's the way I say the bright race should separate from the black race. The solar intelligent people, we should form our own culture, our own intelligence, our own connection with God, separate from the black race, because the black race is disconnected from God. They not tuned into God. They tuned into man. They want to follow the white man. They want to make treaties with him. They want to make business deals with him. They want to make. They want to sell out and get money from him. They want a handout. So these are the people that come up in black movements where they're trying to bring about an evolution. They're the ones that end up stabbing the leaders in the back. These people that got the mentality. They nothing but a bunch of field hands for the beast. All right.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we definitely have to, you know, definitely. My fear is just more like, it's definitely I think it's gonna cause a civil war. You know what I mean? Because you got these black people that haters like that. They really haters, and it's like, you know, when you try to make a difference, man, and you know, they're gonna be like, oh, you know, you trying to, you know, you think you better than me, you know what I'm saying? Or
yeah,
we are better.
We are better. We are trying to be better. We want to be better. We don't want to be like you. I got no problem saying that. We are trying to be better. So for all these people who say we trying to be elitists, we trying to be electors, yeah, we are trying to be better. We don't want to be like you. We don't want to sit around with Yankee baseball caps on our head with our pants hanging off our ass. We don't want our 14 and 15-year-old daughters pregnant by straight niggas in the hood, or our sons smoking blunts on the corner somewhere listening to ignorant hip hop. Now, if that make us we trying to be better, then we are trying to be better. We want our children doing scientific equations and breaking things down and living collectively in gated communities amongst our people, raising our people separately from the damn black race. That's what we want. That's what I'm advocating. Now, if that make me bad because I want to separate the rotten apples or the bad apples from the good batch, well, then that's what it is. The hell with it. Because you got to, like I said, you got to save the few good ones in order to continue the evolution in the collective of the black race or the so-called bright race. You have to save the best ones so that this evolution can take part. Because there'll be no evolution as long as we weigh down with people who are not about nothing. As long as we keep hearing people who ain't about nothing but a bunch of negativity, about a bunch of just foolishness and just, no inactivity. People who just basically stand around doing nothing. Just want to sit around like a bunch of zombies, go to work from 9 to 5, come home. They support this whole thing here. They support the ignorance of the people. Because even the people who are, whether they doing something wrong or they just inactive, they support this thing, and they stand in the way of the evolution of our people. So you have to separate. That's what it is. All right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, brother.
All right, my man.
play a little something for the poisoned people, the mentally poisoned people, the backstabbers, the ones who stab black leaders in the back and have something negative to say all the time about black leaders who are trying to make a difference, who are really trying to make a difference and trying to get our people to speed up the intelligence of our people and connect us to the mind of God, because that's what we need. Is going to get us out of this, our connection being put back together, that severed connection from God. We need it put back without religion, without Christianity, without Islam, without Judaism, without any of this other culture nonsense and the things we done been going through, because we've been there, done that, and that hasn't worked. So now we need that straight connection with God again. And we're going to talk about that more in the State of Mental, how we're going to pick back up the bright leadership. All right? We'll be right back. You know, theoretically no real difference between the people who scream black power and white man's the devil. I'm going to be honest with you. Theoretically, there's really no difference between those people, the Uncle Toms and whatnot, and the bootlicks and the sellouts. There's really no difference between them and the people that scream that the white man is the devil. You know why I say that? Because these people, while screaming the white man's the devil and things like that, while the bootlicks are kissing the white man's behind and, you know, basically selling out his people, they both are sellouts. Why do I say that? Why do I say the black revolutionary, the black militant is a sellout? And why do I say that the black Uncle Tom, Sambo Coon, Negro who love whites and everybody else are sellouts? You know why I say they sellouts? Because all their focus and attention is on the white man and some other race of people. All their focus and energy is on the white man. Right? All their focus. Notice with the so-called black militants, everything out their mouth is the white man is the white man. Okay, then you ask them, well, all right, brother, well, what about focusing on our people? Forget the white man. What about focusing on our people? They draw a blank. The white man this, the white man that, the white man this. We're gonna get a military together. We're gonna make money and then get a military together. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. You're gonna take money from this society, right? And get some land somewhere to buy guns to fight the white man who you made money in the society from. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. You got certain people out here who advocate this nonsense, that money is the answer to the evolution of our people. Money's not the answer. I'm not saying money can't be used. Money's a tool, but money's not the answer. It's not the end-all, be-all, because you got black people with money already, and what they doing? Nothing. Nothing. Because the majority of these black people that call, as soon as they start making some money, what do they want to do? What do these black militants want to do? They want to drive Hummer Jeeps. They want to drive Rolls Royces. They want to buy $1,000 suits. They want to sit on TV talk shows. They want to sit in luxurious hotels. But wait a minute, and sit in hot tubs. But wait a minute. I thought you was a black revolutionary. I thought you was against all the things in the system. Or do you pick and choose when you want to do that? Right? The real people out here who grinding it out about the evolution of our people, they're trying to bring our people up together. See? The so-called militants and all these other people, they'll tell you to hate the system, but then they want to use the system. There's something wrong with the system, but they want to use it. No, I am, like I said, I advocate people, and I try to walk in the footprints of people like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Dr. Malachi Z. because they utilize the system to try to evolve their people, use the tools in this system to evolve their people. Because truth be told, we were supposed to set this same system up ourselves. We were supposed to set the system up. And you know we would have had a lot of black people stabbing us in the back. You understand? A system like this with black people would not have worked. Why? A democratic system or a Republican system, any kind of system of democracy with black people wouldn't have worked. Because black people don't respect each other. You understand? Black people have a problem with leadership when it's from amongst each other. Right? They have a problem with that. They'll follow the white man with no problem. He tells them to dress this way, act this way, do this, do that. They follow it. Right? Because he uses fear. He uses fear, right, to keep our people in control. He uses fear to keep order. And you have to. Our people, without fear and without the force of order, the majority of our people would act like savages right now. Right? So they hate the fact, the majority of our people who are in this society, they hate the fact that they can't wild out, grab women, rape women, do whatever they want, act like they true animalistic selves. So the last thing they want to answer to, the last person they want to answer to or talk about order and structure is with another black person in charge of something. Because when he puts that hate or that energy or that directs that energy at tearing down the black leader, he really wishes he could do it to the white man. But because he's scared, because he really has no power to do so, or that he's just still got that Uncle Tom mentality where he feeds off the white man, he feeds off of hate, he won't do that to him. But he can't really do anything to him other than just gripe and call names, which the white man don't care about. Nobody really cares in the real world what you're talking about. You would rather tear down something that you feel is accessible. Another black man, a so-called black man who look like you, who you don't think much of in the first place because of your jealousy, because you understand or you know that you really have no power in the world. Your words really mean nothing in the real world. Your black revolutionary talk, your black power talk, all of that means nothing in the real world of accomplishments and evolution. It means nothing. It means nothing in the sight of God. Because God deals with evolution. God deals with intelligence and advancing people. And the very few people amongst our people in this millennium or last millennium that got that intelligence, you always had Negroes who were blinded, impure, to tear that down. The people who are impure are the people who don't carry the blood of God in their veins. The ones of our people who are not about the evolution, you're not God. The ones of our people who are not about coming together collectively, you're not gods. Because the gods understand evolutionary talk. The true people who are of the bloodline of God understand talk of collectiveness. They understand the power in it. They understand real God talk when they hear it. Because like I said, you got the black man, he's so destroyed that he don't understand. He's like either, when it comes to God, which is supposed to be our guide into the future, our connection with God, the future ascendants, our children and our grandchildren, they're supposed to be the ascendants or our connection into the future. That bloodline is supposed to be flowing. That intelligence is supposed to be flowing. These people who speak against God, they either saying they God, or God is some white man, or God is some spirit or some spook, right? Or that there is no God. This is the mentality of black people today. This is the stupidity and the false concepts of black people today. Or they sitting up here talking about nature or the earth is God. Just any nonsense. They just don't even make no sense coming out their mouth. This is the sign of a people who are disconnected from God, a people that have been made impure. This is the sign of that. People who are swallowing up and eating the ignorant philosophies of mankind. Just saying anything. When there's only one logical answer to the evolution of our people, and that is connection to God. Mental connection to God, and that's possible. A lot of our people, they don't have any real understanding of that. They'll say, "Oh, brother, that's some spookism, that's crazy, and that's that, and the third." Well, where does inspiration come from? Where does inspiration and intelligence come from? The ability to have future thoughts, to lead our people into the future, to breed that in your children, so that they have some connection to bring about ideas and greater technology or whatever's coming through to come and lead our people into the future. Where do these ideas come from? It don't just pop up in your head from nowhere. All ideas, all intelligence is sent to people. You have no ideas on your own. All intelligence, all greater thought is being sent from some place. It's being generated as an image in your mind from God. And that God is the future evolution of the people, the constant movement of the people forward. God moves through a people. Same way a bloodline moves, God moves through a people. We are a disconnected bloodline of God, the so-called black race. They are a disconnected bloodline of God. Same way when you can't get reception, when your cable is out or your phone line is out, you be like, there's a line down somewhere. We represent that line down. We represent that down line. And a lot of black men and black women are represent that downline generation, which is why they stab black leaders in the back who's trying to connect that line, right? Because they start to believe that this is really how it is, that we're going to be like this forever. to the point whereas they do nothing to aid in the evolution of our people so that we not like this. They don't do anything. They just inactive. They go to work, they come home, they just do nothing, inactive. Or they try to tear down something that is trying to be activated. You understand? That's the majority of our people. Your inactivity in the evolution of our people. Like I said, because I was talking to a brother the other day, I said our people are mentally dead. They don't stand for nothing. They don't have no fire in their chest. They not hot about nothing. They don't have, their souls are gone, man. It's just impure. It's just dead energy. Well, like I said, unless it's something stupid, like sports, shopping, spending money, buying a new Jordan, something stupid, right? Nothing that's thinking into the future, nothing. And anybody that talks like that, if you ever pay attention, anybody that talks like that, they try to shut that person down. You understand? They try to shut that person down. They go, oh, what he trying to do? What you trying to do? I heard that plenty of times and when I'm teaching the knowledge or the intelligence of mental to my people. When I'm teaching and trying to raise the state of mental, I said we raising a state after God, meaning we are following the order of God. God has an order and a structure, and we are supposed to be following it. That's how you reconnect with God. That's how you move your people into the future. See, the white man, he's done that. That's why he set up America, because he's following the order of God. You talking about the system being messed up. Don't you understand this system is after God? It's under, they say under God, one nation under God, meaning they are in submission to God. But we're supposed to be, as people who are a manifestation of God, we're supposed to be in transmission with God, in connection with God, and following the order of God, after God, behind him, in a group, collectively. God is real. Anybody who says God isn't real, then you tell me where the solar system came from. You tell me where the planets came from. You tell me where Earth came from. You tell me where the sun came from. You tell me where your biological structure and makeup came from. That was based on some intelligence. Intelligence put that in order. I don't hear this nonsense about a Big Bang Theory, because a lot of you Negroes who want to stab black leaders in the back, a lot of y'all tend to be so-called agnostics, or, you don't acknowledge that there is a supreme being, because you want to be the supreme being. We are our own gods. We are our own individuals. But what are you doing for your people? What are you doing? God don't work like that. God promotes collectivism. God promotes the group. He don't collect, and God is not advocating. God never anywhere where God came to people, whether it was in Egypt, Sumeria, wherever. These were all governments and civilizations. God didn't come to no individuals. You understand that? You talk about the ancestors. This is what kills me with these Negroes who, like I said, they the chief ones who stab our people in the back. They talk about our black civilizations and our black societies and things like that. Don't you understand that these people, whether you talk about the ancient Kemites, the Egyptians, the Nubians, and all these people, they acknowledge God. And they said that they came from ʟᴇᴏᴘ. They came from the Anunnaki. They came from these people, these star people, or these celestial people, these God beings, or this God race. They acknowledged God. They just didn't use the word God. I had simple-minded Negroes tell me, oh, well, the white man created the whole concept of God. Are you serious? And this is supposed to be some pseudo-intellectual person supposed to be so smart that studied Egypt, yet all these people talked about with the ʟᴇᴏ, which was the gods of the supreme beings coming from beyond the sun, and talking about how they walked with them and how they talked with them, and they said they were descendants of those people who came from the stars. That's all our people ever said. Now, all of a sudden, you get around the white man and all these other people who are talking this atheist, agnostic nonsense about no God. Now, all of a sudden, because it feeds your ego, oh, there is no God. So if you got that mindset that there is no God, then you think that there's no need for no black movement or any collective, because God deals with collectives. So you already could tell who got that mentality who's against the collective. You already could tell. Those are the disconnected people. Those are the ones who are impure. Stay away from them. You understand? We are our own God. What are you doing for the people, God? What are you doing for the people? That's what I want to know. But promoting negativity and individualism and causing confusion. You know different than the white man. You niggas in the conscious community, you know different than the white man. He don't have to come out here and promote confusion and separation and stab the black leaders in the back. Y'all do it before him. He knows he got a loyal audience of niggas that'll sit up here and say, "Oh yeah, Dr. York molested kids," or "Oh yeah, Elijah Muhammad, he was a child molester, and he was a Mason, and he was this, that, and the third." He know he got a loyal bunch of Sambos and coons in the conscious, militant communities that will do that. The real people that came to help our people, you throw them under the bus. You understand? But yet you don't replace it with nothing else. Anything they gave, you don't replace it. You don't bring nothing better. Oh, black power, black nationalism, Africa, that's talk. That's a bunch of talk. Because you still living in America. And you still going to work. You still hustling. You still going to school. You doing whatever you doing. You not structuring nothing in the name of what you advocating. Then it's just a bunch of talk and BS. And you just going around here trying to get paid, going and doing lectures and things like that. You are the people that promote this. Right? Because you know if you promote individualism, it's easy to get a room full of people in here who talking about individuality and who are not really serious about the evolution. Those are the people who will pay to see you. These are the people that will pay to see you. 404. 404, you're on the air.
Yes, this is Brother Buck. Am I here?
Uh-huh. I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I came in late to the... I came in late, so I'm just catching on what you're saying, and I can relate to a lot of it. I do appreciate and respect the fact that you use the word many or most when you're speaking about our people, as opposed to saying all of them, which is a problem I tend to find a lot of time. People want to make everybody an either-or situation. I can really relate to a lot of what you're saying about the concept of God and how many people cannot relate to that. But one of the problems I have is that because of the confusion that is permeating the culture as a result of so many different concepts of God that are out there, and a lot of our people don't really know what direction to move in terms of God A or God B, whether it's the Christian God or the God of Buddha or what have you. So my question is, how do we, as a people, come together and begin to unite with each other, given the fact that we have been, all of our lives, we have been inculcated with this divisive concept that we cannot relate together, we not live together, and all of these problems that have been put upon us. We've constantly been educated, taught to believe that somehow or another the only way you can make it is as an individual. Now, how do we deal with that, overcome that, and get people to come to realization that we have to be dependent upon each other, interdependent, to work together towards that higher goal? And once we do that, how do we identify the Godhead that we should identify with our people, that we should follow and we should emulate?
Simple. Very simple. Step 1, kill the whole African thing. We're not Africans. Step 2, kill the whole black thing, because the whole black thing is nothing but an opposite end of the white thing. You understand? Step 3, destroy all concepts, because they all come from the white man anyway. Black, African, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, all that comes from the white man anyway. Black nationalism, all that. It's nothing but the black carbon copy version of what the white man advocated, which all comes out of ignorance anyway. When we get rid of all these things, and we're starting with a clean slate, then we get to understand the intelligence of God, because God is not a concept. God is a reality. When I tell people, I say it's reality that a supreme being put all this in order, right? A supreme thinking mind, a higher intelligence put all of this in order. Everything you see, our biological structure, in the word you see biological, you see the word logical, meaning a thinking order, a thinking mind put everything in order. The solar system, everything, nature, everything is structured in an order, right? That took a person to do that, not a spook, not a spirit, not some white force and whatnot, other nonsense we believe in, or the black man claiming he God, yet he can't do any of these things or change the condition of the people. So once we understand that there is a higher intelligence, then we erase all the concepts then we start to connect as one with that higher intelligence. We refer to this in the state of mental as Amen. Now, people will say that Amen is from Egypt. And we said, no, Amen is not from Egypt. Amen came through Egypt, because the name Amen continues, right? It continues even into today, into America, through all societies. That name has continued, right, which denotes that this was the true name of the man or a supreme being that begat human, right? Our man would be the omni-force, or the omni-being, or the continuous one who has no beginning or no ending, which is what God would be. Beyond the solar system, beyond the star, a person who has made it or moved beyond the terrestrial plane, a celestial being, one who is beyond earth. So we are supposed to be connecting with that person, not a spirit or a spook, but a person, one who is as we are part of his bloodline and his genetic, we are supposed to be moving into that evolution and becoming like that as a group.
You know, for the most part, what you're saying makes perfect sense. I understand it all across the board. Where I have a problem is that, you know, people in this country, they are invested in this system, this socioeconomic structure that even though they call it capitalism, if you studied The Art of War, you'll see that, in fact, what they've done is they've dangled a carrot out in front of people, and they entice people by giving one person some success and then convincing everybody that, oh, yeah, they can make it, when, in fact, the system is stacked against them. They're never going to make it. And it's just a dream that they might make it. Therefore, they'll continue to accept the BS that's being put upon them. So,
well, black people. Let me tack this. Black people who make it as individuals really don't have success. They have money. There's a difference between success and money. You can have the white man hands off people money, not success. Success is when you collectively make it or do something in your life that resonates with the collective or the group of our people. Now, somebody who I would consider successful is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Berry Gordy, people like that who had money and they were successful in making a sound resonating image in the minds of our people. Those would be successful people. Success can't be given to you by him. Money can be given all day, and our people always fall for money and material possessions. They never do anything that's going to resonate in the future mindsets of our people.
You're making my case for me by showing that these people who we truly identify as being successful are select people that you can name on, or you can point to your fingers on your hand and you can name them. These bing. It's not something that you can look out and say the people are moving in this direction. It's only those select few. So my concern is, okay, you and I, we're on the same page. We see these things. We understand these things. And we have problems in dealing with the system because we know that no matter how hard you try, as an individual, you're not going to make it. I mean, except for those few people who could be pretty much identified as tokens. Token's not a good word because of the connotation, but my point is that it's just a few people here and there. Even the ones that have a lot of money that really don't have any power, any authority to make any type of changes across the board. So here's what I'm saying. How do we reach the masses? And, because it is the masses that we have to reach. And it doesn't, as you said earlier, it's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. And I think that is one of the methods that they've used to keep us divided, by playing white people against black people, by playing the Christians against the Muslims. And that's probably one of the biggest ones right there. But so everybody is trying to find their particular method or path. How do we get people to understand that it's all of us? It's all of us, and we have to realize that we're being manipulated by this shadow government that most of us don't see or even realize. We see the people that are in Congress. We see the senators. We see the representatives who look up and do these crazy things. We're mad at them. But those people aren't really running the show. They're just there for us to direct our focus on. When you look at history, the people that were actually in charge when the proverbial stuff hit the fan, the people rose up and they took those people out. So today we have a situation wherein the people running the show realize this, so they're not putting themselves on Front Street. They've got this government up there for us to focus our energy on, but they're behind the scenes pulling the strings. So how do we – go ahead.
What were you going to say? How do we reach the masses?
I was saying, what are we going to do to get the masses to understand that you're all being manipulated, you're all being played against each other, and until you stop following this idiocy, trying to chase a dollar, which is not worth anything, but, and just begin to relate to each other on the basis of humanity and what we need to do to work together so that collectively we can all come up. This thing that's played right now in America, where we have this idea that somehow that we have a financial crisis, it's non-existent. It's not really there. There's more than enough wealth to go around. It's just that it's being concentrated in such a small area that the rest of us are suffering. So how do we address that?
Well, let me first of all say that it's not for everybody. The intelligence of God in which we're dealing with is not for everybody. I'm not trying to reach everybody. I'm only trying to reach a chosen few people, because the majority of people are not going to listen. A lot of the people who are in the masses of people in society are just plain slow, and they're stupid. I don't mean to say it that way. I'm going to say it just how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So it's not, it's just like in anything when you're dealing with the evolution of a people. Certain people are going to evolve, certain people are not. There is a selective process or an elective process that goes, and God deals with a chosen few all the time. How you know that the majority of the people are not really in connection or in tune with God is because of religion. You see, all the majority of people follow religion or believe in some form of God. These are the false people, because God only deals with a select or a chosen few. Now, the government that you're talking about, the way the government is structured, is after God's order. I'm going to be honest with you, and why I say that is because if you're talking about taking the government out, and like I said, a lot of our people love to talk about this thing of taking the government out or a structure out, yet you have nothing to replace it with. Because there has to be a structure. There has to be an order. There's a reason why a government is in place. There's a reason why a system is in place, because God has a system in place. He has dictates and has orders and things. Everything is structured in an order in this universe. If the governments are set up after the order of God or under the eye of God, that's why this society set up where he showed you the pyramid and said, in God we trust, in the eye over it, which was God. You understand? They're showing you that they set up this structure or this government under God, and this is why they are in power, because God is real and he is keeping their structure together, because anything outside of a structure will be chaos. Now, if there was no order here, if there were no police, if there were no FBI, if there were no monetary system to stop people from taking food and things like that, or slow people down their spending, we would deplete the resources. People would be broke and starving, overweight, and all this stuff like that. There wouldn't be enough to go around, and it would be chaos. You couldn't come out in the street. Your woman couldn't walk the street. They would be raping her. They would be killing our children and things like that, like they're doing now, the degenerates and the predators, black and white. So there has to be a structure. There has to be an order. Right? Unless that's going to be replaced by the people who advocate and taking this one down, I don't want to hear that. Because wherever we are, we always had an order set up. That's not something from the white man. We had orders set up in Egypt. We had governments in Egypt. We had a government in Sumeria. Wherever black people were, we were the first ones to set up governments on earth. Governments are under God. All right? So, like I said, until a black man can structure himself and structure his woman, everybody gets structured in an order and in a collective group, then it's the only way our people are going to come back to power. Without that, that's not going to happen.
We're on the same page. Now, I've been active for quite some time in trying to do something to get people to realize what's going on around us. And I agree with you. You've got to have structure. Without it, we'd have anarchy, and it would just be disastrous. But one classic example is I was in a meeting, and there were some people involved in this socialist program. And they were talking about what we need to do to, basically to bring the American government down. And I would say, that sounds on one side, like in terms of trying to get something straight, it sounds okay. But what are you going to replace it with? I said, you can't talk about tearing something down until you got something to replace it with. Otherwise, you're going to, once it starts going down, it's going to keep going down. And what you have is going to look like a paradise when you get to where you're headed if you don't have a plan to make something work. And we're on the same page again when you talk about having that structure. So my concern is
let me just say that while this is in my mind. Let me tell you something. These people who talk about this socialist nonsense about tearing down things, these are the same people that got a problem with structure and order, period. It don't care if it's a white structure or a black structure. It'll be the same people that would be talking about tearing down structures. They want to run wild and have chaos and disorder. That's what these people live for. They want to go and be able to do whatever they want to do with no laws, without no consequence, without no judgment, no nothing. They want to commit crimes. They want to take money. They want to take women. They want to be able to do what they want to do. That's the type of society they want to live in. So I don't listen to all that socialist nonsense or this communist nonsense. I'm a capitalist, straight up. I understand capitalism because if a person has the ability to make money, I don't have a problem with people making money. I don't have a problem with people becoming wealthy or rich or whatever.
Neither do I.
I have no
but
problem
there has
with that.
to be some limitations. You can't just let it run wild, and neither can you allow a few people to get so much of a stranglehold on the system, whereas they can manipulate it and they can pick and choose who actually has a chance to win. And that's what I see a lot happening today. So, and I agree with you. I like the capitalist system of you being able to market a product and being able to come up and do something. I think it's a great system. But my problem is that because of the fact that there is this extreme imbalance, this wealth disparity that we have today, that somehow, without destroying, that whole idea that, we have to not throw out the baby with the bathwater. How can we come up with a system that offers more equity, a more equitable distribution of wealth without disrupting the overall structure?
Well, our people have to come together as a collective. Like I said, I'm all for the groups like the Old Nation of Islam and things like that. That's what we're trying to advocate in the state of Mental, our movement, in which we are mentalists. We are about the collective evolution and the financial growth of our people within our state or in our collective. We're not concerned with everybody else. We only concerned with our collective and our group of people. Same way, like I said, the Nation of Islam and the Muslims were concerned about their economic growth. Same way the Jews are concerned about their economic growth. I think it has to be a collective group of people that are not focused on the populace, because the populace will never be in tune all the way. So I'm not, that, like I said, I'm very collective and group oriented, and in that arena like that.
Yeah, well, see, we really need to talk after this show, because I have some things that are right in front of us now on that same tack, where there's some tremendous wealth opportunities for us as a people if we can come together and look at this as a collective and say, this is what this represents to us as a people. If we move forward and work with this, it affects employment for our people. It affects income for our people. It affects housing and all types of accommodations for our people. Or true, I don't want to call it policing, but I mean true safety in our neighborhoods, not being occupied by this police force that comes there and looks at us all as criminals, but people that look at us as people. And I'm not just saying this in terms of the black community, but all of us that are of this mental state. And I think that's the key. The people that have it in their mind to understand that this is not about color. It is about your mental.
It is, brother. It is about a race of people. And when I say it's about color, in a sense, we're saying that it's about species and race of people, because even in what we advocate, and we're not even talking about taking the whole black race with us. So we're not saying the black race, we're not interested in the black or the white race. We're talking about an evolved people that are coming out of the black race. That's what we're advocating on, who we refer to as the bright race or the solar intelligent race. That's who I'm talking about. I'm not interested in the black.
I agree with you, and that's why I said Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to dominate your conversation, but
that's fine.
Hey, but what's your
area code is area code. Excuse me, I'm gonna cut you up, brother. Your area code is 757.
404. I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, you're in Atlanta. Okay, yeah. Brother, I got your number. I'll give you a call back because I got a couple more calls in our time.
Do what you got, your brother. I love you. You know, give me a call when you get a chance. I'm gonna finish the rest of the show. Take care.
Thank you, bro. All right. 757.
Whew, boy, man, I was trying to get it in before you did your questions, man. It's been a long hour and 40-some minutes to try to stay focused. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to try to do this real quick in 3 minutes because I know that you got to answer your questions and everything. Mm-hmm. All right, first thing, the first thing is going to be the last thing, which is always going to be the first thing. If you're not connected to the Creator, too bad for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at this particular point, when you're saying a lot of people is worried about everybody, first thing, if you're not connected, if you're not receiving, it ain't nothing that nobody else can do for you. First, that's the bottom line to it, man. You know what I'm saying? And hate to be that blunt, like you said, you know, some people are stupid. I mean, we just have to accept that. Going back from there, the part about everybody keep blaming white people, I gotta add my part in on that. It ain't them, and you said it before, and the reason why it's not them is because they get all of they stuff from China and Japan. So I'm tired of everybody keep saying the white man, the right. They don't make nothing. Your drawers and all your clothes and all your electronics and your cell phones, they come from China. So stop keep blaming him and saying he runs something because he ain't thinking of nothing either. All right, so that takes care of him. Third is commerce. Our people still have not set up any trade with anybody else. We do not do commerce. We don't have nothing, not zero, one thing to sell to Mexicans, Cubans, Africans, white people. We don't have nothing to give to nobody, so we need to stop right there until we have something to give to offer, because if you ain't offering nothing, you ain't worth nothing anyway. You know what I'm saying? So one thing, get something, you know what I'm saying, as a commodity. Fourth, Home Depot, Office Depot. I'm gonna start with the men first. You gotta have resources and equipment and building. Men, you know what I'm saying, brothers, like you said, niggas out here on the street, pants hanging down. Have you ever used a drill? You know what I'm saying? Do you have any tractor trailers? Do you know how to make anything out of anything? You know, that's the fourth thing. Going back to you, and I'm going to drop off, you know what I'm saying, so that you can get to your questions, because I want to really elaborate, but I know we're short on time. But going back to that, to the focus of the subject at hand, why do people get on black leaders? Okay, I look at it in a scientific manner, and I use the term viral or viruses. And you want to ask, why does something form a virus in the body? One thing is that something that forms a virus in the body, whether it's Nation of Islam or, you know what I'm saying, Dr. Nawabian Nation, is the purpose of the individuals within that organism. That if you're not accomplishing the purpose of what you came in, you're going to become viral. Malcolm X should have been still accomplishing the purpose of the Nation of Islam. What is the goal that a people is trying to reach? You know what I'm saying? When people are seeking to accomplish a goal, then it'll cut back on all of the crap. You know what I'm saying? And then the last final thing is those two leaders, you know what I'm saying, which we have a major reverence for, is that they was connected to the Creator, and they was doing things that was originally coming through them, and they wasn't begging from any oppressor in order to be productive and be unique at their approach at our people. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing is that they had an order and a structure set up. Oh, last thing I want to say, a drill. And, a lot of times people don't call with solutions or whatever, and I know you want people to call that's thinking about something as far as a solution. I would look at something as far as goal accomplishing and drills, which means, and I'm saying that for man, women, child, elders, or whatever. If we as a people are not showing each other how to accomplish things in a day, week, month, or a year manner, we'll never accomplish anything, because we're not running any type of any type of programs that show each other that we can trust each other and come a part of anything. So I think that we should be running some type of drills that actually will show that you even got the mental faculty to accomplish an objective. So I just want to fall back on that note, bro.
Thank you, brother. Well, like I said, our people, like I said, they want somebody to cry for them. They want somebody to feel sorry for them. They want somebody to, do something for them. And it's pathetic. Like I said, you have to have a people who are mentally in tune with each other in order to accomplish anything. And what I mean by that is, in order for you to accomplish commerce, I'm going to open your line back up, brother. In order for you to accomplish commerce, trade, or anything that our people keep talking about, money, 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 you have to have the people on the same page together. When they deal with us, you hear me, brother? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, when our people have to, when we are dealing with our people, we have to, when people deal with us, they got to be like when they dealt with the Nation of Islam, they'd be like, okay, the Muslims, they got this plan, the black Muslims got this plan. Or they dealt with Dr. York, they said the Nawapians is doing this. Or, you're dealing with the Italians are doing this. Or the Americans are doing this. When it comes to us, what are we going to say? Those of us not in those organizations, the blacks are doing this? Because it has to be a new movement of people and a new identity and a new connection, you understand, to move our people forward. You understand? So that when people deal with us, they know that they're dealing with one mind, one body, one soul, one people after the order of God. They have to know that. If you're talking about just black people, what are black people? What is a black people? There's no such thing as a black people. There's no such thing in that African thing. There's no such thing as that. So the more and more our people keep going behind these ignorant titles and things like that and not coming together as they are in a new and real identity, a collective one, and putting leadership back up in a new light, then we're not going to be able to accomplish anything financially, mentally, or collectively. We're not going to be able to accomplish any of that. So keep talking about money being the answer. That's not the answer to our people's problems. You understand? We need another identity. We need our new connection. We need a new connection with God. We need all that in order to be successful. Then all the other things are going to fall in line. We're going to start having money. We're going to build businesses again. We're going to do like how the nation did. They were successful. They laid the blueprint as far as success. God was working through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, through Fard and all these people to do this. And they were the ones that showed us the way, was working through Dr. Malachi Z. York and them to show us the way that we can move forward into the future as a new generation of people. You understand? When I talk about the state of Mental, I'm talking about the Mentalians, is which we refer to ourselves as in the state of Mental. The Mentalians, those who are in tune mentally with God, the Mentalians, because that's who we truly are as an identity and a race of people, Mentalians. People who are mentally in tune and supposed to be receiving intelligence from God mentally, because all things are mental. Everything on the planet is mental. That's what we have to understand. Everything is governed by the mind. So we have to become those mental beings, that mental force field, those Mentalians by race, by nationality, by identity, by universal identity. We have to be those Mentalians, those high receivers of intelligence from God. We have to become those people. That is the next level. That's who we become after we stop being Africans, Egyptians, Nubians, and all that. We done passed all that. After we erase the board and get rid of all that, we have to realize that we are mental beings, and we're supposed to be receiving intelligence from God. And that's only going to be an elect or a chosen few. It's not going to be all of the people, because the people that are concerned about the masses of people, those are the people who are not in tune with God, because God don't deal with the masses. And this is what the people don't understand. The people who followed those movements, like Malcolm X, he lost sight of that. He lost sight of the big picture. Elijah was in tune with God, but Malcolm wasn't. He was in tune with man. That's why he felt the need to respond to that nonsense about Kennedy, because he was in tune. He fell into that trap of being in tune with man. Dr. York was in tune with God, but his son wasn't. That's why he fell into making deals with the man or the beast for his father's freedom. All right? And that's always going to happen. Those kind of people who are in tune with man, who don't understand or don't have no connection with God, they do things like that. All right? That's why you have these people that stab your black leaders or your so-called black leaders in the back. The majority of our people are out of tune with God. So let me answer these questions, and then I'm going to get out of here. Let me see. I got a full day tomorrow. January 27th, we're going to be doing the truth about God revealed in Brooklyn, New York. We invite our people to come out, listen, because we're trying to make this connection. It's about the reception of God. No more religion, people, about the reception of God. So why do certain black people slander and betray black leaders? Because, like I said, our people are brain-stained. They are poisoned, right? They are severed from the connection of God, because if they were connected, they would see the bigger picture in coming together collectively instead of promoting individualism. Right? Our people have been made impure because it was a time when you look at our people in ancient Egypt and Nubia, we was all about the collective. You couldn't build a government because, like I said, you see all these Negroes in the conscious community talking about Egypt and wearing the ankhs and all this other stuff and pretty Egyptianness, and yet they talking about individualism and being their own God. You came up with your own meaning about what you think those people were about, because they were about collectivism, because you couldn't build a society or a government without being together collectively, right? And all they talked about with the Nitiru and all this, and being the celestial beings coming from the celestial realm, coming from beings outside the solar system. So they acknowledge God, right? What do they gain from this? What do they gain from the slander and the betrayal? Absolutely nothing, but the satisfaction of tearing something down because they're not connected to it. They can't see it, so they want to tear it down out of jealousy. They're not the ones bringing in or being the ones who being the light or the beacon for the evolution of our people, leading the way, so they want to tear it down, right? They want to tear it down. And the leaders who fall victim to this are the people who start to put the focus on those individuals. Don't put focus on those individuals, right? Don't start going in the wrong way. Keep going, continuously keep going and connecting with God and keep moving forward. And all these other people will fall behind, all the haters and all the people who hate what you're doing because they're not receiving anything, or they're not in connection with God, and they're not receiving inspiration to be inspired and empowered to move forward. They're going to hate on what you're doing because they're not getting it, because it's not coming into them. So they're going to make your words BS. They're going to try to portray it that way. So, where am I? Why do they join real so-called black movements? Why do these people join movements? These people join movements just to come in and tear them down. They always have a question about, they always want to come in and cause dissension. That's why it's always these people. I'm going to show you these kind of people. You ever know, it'll be these kind of people. Whenever a movement is starting, you'll know who these people are from the outset. They'll always ask how many people's in there, how many people come into the class, how many people in there. Why do you care how many people are there? Because 9 times out of 10, they come in there to socialize. And when they come, they're not coming there because they truly acknowledge what you're doing is real, and they're coming there to help and aid in the evolution of our people and live this life. They're coming there because they want to see how many people is there, because they want to socialize. Not saying there's nothing wrong with socializing, but they want to socialize so that then they can start to slander, then they can start asking questions, saying stupid stuff, and causing confusion. That's why they do that. That's why your conscious community, they have all these turnouts at these events, because it's just a social gathering. It's just something for niggas to talk nonsense about and then go home and go back to their regular life. You understand? We hate the white man, blah, 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 blah. Then you go back to your regular life, going to work for him, going to school with him, doing whatever you're doing with him. So that's what that's all about. All right? Does Willie Lynch really have something to do with the mentality of these people? No, it does not. No, it does not, because our people been in this separative mind state before Willie Lynch, before we got into this country, and we've always had it. Until we separate the ignorant from the intelligent, the ones who are connected to God versus the ones who are disconnected, we're going to always have this problem. So we can knock off the Willie Lynch thing and blaming the white man. All right? What will this do for the evolution of our people? The separation, it will do everything for the evolution of our people. It'll bring us forward to who we're supposed to be. Again, forward, not back, but forward. That's the end of our broadcast. This has been State of Mental Radio. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkares. Join us Friday for our next broadcast. I don't know what the topic is going to be yet, but it's going to be good as usual. I promise you that. All right. we're going to close. I want to close with a favorite song of mine. I haven't heard this in a minute, so let me find it. Let me see. January 27th, you know, State of Mentel's True God Revealed class. Once again, I am the intellectual Nuben Mencar.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we can do.